if you're awake at all, you can't live in Canada and think that people with opposing views to the government narrative are going to be accepted. It's an understood thing. So when Josh took his stand to defend the girls and to just state his beliefs that he believed God created male and female and to stand on that, we raised him to do that. We raised him to believe the Bible and to do what God wanted to do, and we knew that there's a cost to that. That's just life. So we did it as Christians. Our stand has been as Christians, but I mean, it doesn't just apply to Christians. It's anybody, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or an atheist, and you just don't believe in what the rest of the people around you are doing. There's a consequence. There's a cost.
Full disclosure, this report may make your blood boil. You've been warned. Many of you who have been following our coverage on attacks on freedom in Canada, which includes the ongoing attack against Christianity, are probably familiar with the name Joshua Alexander. He's the young Ontario man who first made headlines back in 2022 after he bravely stood up for the safety and comfort of his female peers by advocating against his Catholic high school's policy to allow males to trans-identify into the girls' washroom. For advocating for such and voicing his scientific and biblically aligned beliefs that humans are either men or women, Alexander was suspended, arrested when he returned to the property, and later banned from graduating with his peers. But what you probably haven't heard is what's happened to Josh Alexander's parents. Matt and Nicole Alexander are both teachers who were teaching in a different Ontario school district than what Josh was enrolled in, and soon found themselves also both being suspended, investigated, and ultimately terminated by the Renfrew County District School Board for, get this, not celebrating and affirming LGBTQ issues. That's Canada for you. After a long and quiet battle to try and save their careers while still upholding their conscience and beliefs, both teachers are now fighting back legally with the help of several lawyers at no charge to them thanks to the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms. I'm Drea Humphrey with Rebel News, and Matt Alexander joins me now to tell you more about this concerning story.
Why was I a teacher? Well, yeah, I wasn't my original plan when I was a teenager, but I always was good. I worked at summer camps with kids, and I was always really good with them. And as I got to the very end of high school, I did a co-op placement and did it in a school, and I loved it. It was fantastic. I slid right in, and so I went ahead to a degree in university and followed it up with a teacher's college degree as well, and off to the races. So put in 23 years teaching.
Now, both yourself and your wife, Nicole, taught with no blemishes on your teaching record. Your wife took some time off to homeschool the kids and then came back to working as a teacher. And your son took a very bold stand for safe spaces for young girls, a stand that many are scared to take. When that was happening, were you and Nicole worried at all that there could be some sort of backlash to both of you professionally? And if so, what was your advice to your son and to yourselves?
Yeah, well, of course. I mean, I don't think if you're awake at all, you can't live in Canada and think that people with opposing views to the government narrative are going to be accepted. It's an understood thing. So when Josh took his stand to defend the girls and to just state his beliefs that he believed God created male and female and to stand on that, we raised him to do that. We raised him to believe the Bible and to do what God wanted to do, and we knew that there's a cost to that. That's just life. So we did it as Christians. Our stand has been as Christians, but I mean, it doesn't just apply to Christians. It's anybody, whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or an atheist, and you just don't believe in what the rest of the people around you are doing. There's a consequence. There's a cost. So we knew that could be, yeah.
A cost to follow your conscience. Now, chronologically, we see that your son got in trouble. Again, both you and your wife had these clean records.
And then almost within months of each other, you both find yourself in trouble, suspended. Let's start with yourself. My understanding from the press release that the JCCF released is that your situation started with online posts, even though you don't have a social media account. Tell us about that.
Right. So I just got a call one night. My principal phoned me. It was a Monday night, and she said, "Matt, sorry to tell you, don't come into school. You're under investigation." And I knew the answer. I asked, can you tell me what it's about? I knew the answer would be no, I can't say anything, which was the answer. So I had no information whatsoever. So I had a chat with the union in the morning, and they said they didn't know much, but it had to do with online posts. They thought it was my post, and I said, yeah, but I don't have social media. I wasn't on social media. So they were a bit puzzled by that. But anyways, I believe there were other people that posted about me, and that got the ball rolling, as we understand.
And what were they posting about you?
I don't entirely know. I haven't seen a lot of it, but I know there are things in reference to what Josh was doing. That's the only reason anybody would post about me. It was made known that I was a teacher, and people just say, how could a LGBTQ child be safe in his classroom? And that went out there. I don't know exactly, but something to that effect. I don't really know.
So then this happens, and they're looking at these posts and saying, don't come in, and you're under investigation. How does that go from that point to termination? And where was your union?
So yeah, there's a process to that. I was put on. I was suspended. They did their investigation. It took them months to do it, and by September, they basically the union represented us in that, and we had a representative to talk with the board and so forth. By September, the school board had said to us that we were in violation of board policies regarding diversity, DEI, and LGBTQ. And if we were willing to comply with the board requirement to celebrate and affirm LGBTQ issues, then we could have our jobs. And we declared, well, we're Christians. We laid out what we believe and why we can't celebrate that which we know is wrong. We've always had a positive classroom, which is open to everybody, and always got along well with our students. No issues there whatsoever, and we would continue to do so, and with anybody, as we always had. But that wasn't enough. They terminated because we would not comply with the requirement to celebrate and affirm LGBTQ issues. So that's where that went. And then the union, did their usual, filed a grievance and so forth, but they refused to pursue the violation of our charter rights and our human rights.
And so for Nicole, what happened, or the starting point for her, because of course they have to find something, it was a post on her kindergarten classroom. Can you talk about that?
So yeah, that was an interesting one. So it was just 3-4 weeks after I was suspended. She went into work. She taught French to kindergarten students, and she walked to her classroom first thing in the morning, and there was a pride poster flag on her door, which she didn't put there. And they weren't a requirement, and they weren't on other doors, all the other doors in the hallway. But so she removed it and put it in the closet. And she was called to the office. I don't know, shortly thereafter, or after she started teaching the kids and just going about her regular day, she was called to the office, and the superintendent was waiting and said, "Did you remove the pride flag from the door?" A poster, and she said, "I did," and she said, "Okay, you're suspended and under investigation." And that was that. No, they were
It
not.
was not on every door?
Not at all. No.
Oh my goodness. So now both of you at the same time are suspended. You already saw what your son's been going through. Take us to those moments, the quiet moments where you guys are, even today, since you've both been terminated, what exactly has this cost you and your family?
Well, as I say, I mean, I had been the sole breadwinner for most of our marriage, and my wife had just gotten back, so we weren't a family that had a great deal. We were a one income family and making it work as we raised our kids. So we lost both of our incomes right there. So income dropped to zero immediately. We had to sell our house in order to not lose it to the bank, right? So we sold that, and it just had to kind of absorb everything. We've had to retrain, and we're working away on that, and yeah, try to build a new life. It's been costly for sure. You know, I'd been paying into a pension, right? That was going to be my retirement, and that's been decimated now because of the termination. So yeah, just got to recalibrate and absorb the losses.
Now, your stories are shocking but not surprising. What do you think when you look at what's happened to you and other stories like it across the country? What do you think is the state of Christianity here?
The state of Christianity in Canada, it's bleak. I mean, it's bleak in terms of in the temporal world, right? Because persecution is here. It's people always say, "Oh, we're not experiencing persecution. That's over in Africa or parts of Asia or whatever." No, it's here. It's here. It's here. It's now. It's going to get worse, and Christians need to draw close to the Word of God and make their decision. They got to count the cost and make their choice. If you want to play the game and conform to the world, you'll avoid a lot of trouble. But if you're going to stand on your principles, on God's principles, there's going to be a cost to that. And we're evidence of that. So, you know, we got one son who's barred from school altogether, not allowed to finish his education. Myself and my wife barred from the school board from our jobs. And, you know, our teaching careers are effectively over because you can't get rehired as a teacher when you were fired for not supporting DEI. That's a black mark. And our oldest son, he was attacked with a blade and cut to his face in Toronto at a protest when he was preaching the gospel to the rainbow crowd. So there's my youngest son was even suspended from school for wearing a Save Canada hat because, you know, Josh and Nick had been sort of leading and running the Save Canada organization. And after Nick got attacked with the knife, my youngest son went to school and wore the hat, and they suspended him for that. So yeah, the effects are broad, and Christians just need to make up their mind as whether they're going to go along with it and or whether they're going to go with the world. And again, as I said, that's the Christian angle. But you know, you don't have to be a Christian. You got to make up your mind whether you're going to stand on your principles and your own values, and or whether you're going to camouflage yourself and fade into the background.
Well, it's an honor to work at Rebel News, where we get to give people like yourself a voice so that the truth of what actually happened to you is out there. And it's also an honor to cover stories that the Justice Center is involved in. They've taken on your case. There's 2 courses of action, starting with filing human rights complaint in the Human Rights Tribunal, of course, against the school board, and also against the union. Tell us what you can about that and what it at least feels like, considering the state of Christianity, to have that Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms behind you.
Well, I mean, there aren't words to describe it. I mean, there's no way on earth we could afford to take on this kind of a fight, at least to do it well, right? Especially in terms of dealing with the union. I mean, labor board lawsuits are extremely costly and extremely high risk. So to have them in our corner is massive. And, you know, any individual can file a human rights tribunal complaint. But again, you get the legal representation you can afford, right? And for an individual to do it is just not the same as having the professionals who understand the game and understand how it works. They've been absolutely fantastic, the JCCF. Very helpful to us, very cooperative with us, and it's just an absolute blessing to have their support in this fight.
A social conservative Christian musician's worship concerts have been blocked across Canada by different governments. If you believe that Christians should be free to practice what they believe and worship in the country of Canada, go to our special website to fight back. It's called letusworship.ca.